So we'll start from Khalil's dilemma. Let's see what is his dilemma. What bothers him? As usual, Vikram was driving the motorbike under a vow of silence, and Vettel was the pillion rider. So they were going on a motorbike as usual. Vittel started telling Vikram a story to keep him awake while driving. This time the story went as follows. In the city of Beirut, there lived a man called Khalil. His parents came from different communities. His father was an Orthodox Christian and a mother of Sunni Muslim and mother a Sunni Muslim. So his father was this thing Orthodox Christian, and while a mother was Sunni Muslim. This was not so common in the modern cosmopolitan city. People from various communities that lived in Lebanon came to live in its capital, Beirut. They lived together, intermingled, matlab mixed together, yet fought a bitter civil war amongst themselves. One of Khalil's uncle was killed, and that in that war. At the end of the civil war, Lebanon's leader came together and agreed to some basic rules for power sharing among different communities. As per these rules, the country's president must belong to so the president must belong to Maronite sect of Catholic Christians, the prime minister, whereas the prime minister, he should belong to the Sunni Muslim community. Okay, so you can see how president and everything. The post of deputy prime minister is fixed for Orthodox Christian sect, and that of speaker and that of the speaker. So we have positions that if you want to be the deputy prime minister, or if you want to be the president, or you want to be the deputy PM, then you have to be from specific religious communities or that. Under this pact, the Christian agreed not to seek French protection, and the Muslims agreed not to speak unification with the neighboring state of Syria. When the Christians and Muslims, came to this agreement, they were nearly equal in population. And when this agreement was there, came into existence, they both were, in equal number of, number of people, as in the population. If there were 10 lakh Muslims, then there were around same 10 lakh Christians. Okay, so but both sides have continued to respect this agreement, though now the Muslims are in clear majority now. But over time, the population of Muslims have grown; they've become a majority. So Khalil does not like this system one bit. He is a popular man with political ambition, but under the present system, the top position is out of his reach. He cannot be a Mr. Khalil cannot be the president because he does not. He's a Muslim, and he belongs to the and whoever wants to be the president, he or she should belong to the Maronite sect of the Catholic Christians. Okay, so he does not practice either his father or his mother's religion, and does not wish to be known by either. He said, I am neither a Muslim nor a this Orthodox Christian, even if my parents are so. Okay, he cannot understand why Lebanon cannot be like any other normal democracy. He says that there are so many democracies, why cannot also country cannot be like one? Just hold an election, allow everyone to contest, and whoever wins maximum votes becomes the president, no matter which community he comes from. Why can't we do that? Like in other democracies of the world, he asks. His elders, who have seen the bloodshed of civil war, tell him that the present system is best guaranteed for peace. But his ancestors and elders and everybody, they tell that all the elders in in his family, they tell him that no, this is the best system where people from particular community, they can be either this or that, because they've actually seen the civil war and they know that the importance of peace. Okay, the story was not finished, but they had reached the TV tower, where they stopped every day. Whittle wrapped up quickly and posed his customary question to Vikram. If you had the power to rewrite the rules in Lebanon, what would you do? Would you adopt a regular rules followed everywhere, as Khalil suggests, or stick to the old rules, or do something else? Vettel did not forget to remind Vikram of the basic pact. If you if you have an answer in mind and yet do not speak, you Your mobile will freeze and so will you. Can you help poor Vikram in answering Vettel? So just imagine, okay, place yourself here, and what would you do? Would you want a system of election, or you would just want, however it is happening, that in Lebanon, country, that president should be from this community, deputy PM from this community, and so on. I'll tell you one thing, okay? Recently, wait, sorry. Recently, Lebanon was in the news. Recently, when I say recently, I mean like last year. So, in Beirut, there was an explosion, and the explosion was near a port, because in one of the I think in the storehouses near, usually near the port and everything, there are storehouses and everything. You should actually go on YouTube, or you Google, and type Beirut explosion, and you'll see pictures. They are actually, those pictures and videos, you people have recorded them, and they will just give you, like, you'll be shocked to see the level of explosion and everything. So yeah, that's something else. That's just a thing that I'm telling you to entertain you. Okay. So you know the story of Khalil now, and just imagine, what would you have said if you were in that place? Would you have preferred the system that already exists, where people from different communities are elected for different positions, or you would want, like, just any other system, just like in any other democracy, the system of elections? And also, would you give most importance to peace or a fair play? So decide also on that, what is more important here in your opinion. Forms of power sharing. So what are the forms, how power is shared between people? Let's look in that. The idea of power sharing has emerged in opposition to the notion of undivided political power. For a long time, it was believed that all power of a government must reside in one person or a group of persons located at one place. It was felt that if the power to decide is dispersed, it would not be possible to take quick decisions and to enforce them. A lot of times we say that the more you involve people, the more it will take time, and more it will cause chaos. But it is not always necessary. There's always this saying also, कि किचन में जितने कम लोग उतना ही सही, बिकॉज द मोर हैंड्स इन द किचन, the more it is less likely that the food will turn out tasty. So it's the same thing. That's one of the things that's said. But these notions have changed with the emergence of democracy. But democracy has changed all these notions, where we say that there are so many people, how will proper work functioning will take place. One basic principle of democracy is that people uh, are the source of all political power. In a democracy, people rule themselves through institutions of self-governance. In a good democratic government, due respect is given to diverse groups and views that exist in a society. So, in a good democratic government, due respect, every all the social groups are respected, and their views are taken into account. Everyone has a voice in the shaping of public policy. Whichever policies are made, they have an equal say in that. Therefore, it follows that in a democracy, political power should be distributed among as many citizens as possible. In modern democracies, power sharing arrangement can take many forms. Let us look. Now we've seen that one way of power sharing, where we are only deciding, okay, person from this community will be this, person from this community will be that. But there are better ways of power sharing. Let's have a look at that. Power sharing is shared among different organs of the government, whether we talk about judiciary, we talk about legislature, we talk about executive. Let us recall the horizontal distribution of power, because it allows different organs of government placed at the same level. See, this is vertical. This is horizontal. Okay, you know, horizontal level of distribution, but it because it allows different organs at the space at the same level to exercise different powers. Such a separation ensures that none of the organs can exercise unlimited power. Nobody is above or nobody is below. All are equal. Each organ checks the others, and that is why each organ checks the other. This results in balance of power among various institutions, and that is how uh, you know there is balance of power in all the institutions. Institution A, B, C, they are all placed at the same level, at the same horizontal line. Nobody is above or below that. Whereas the vertical line, when we talk about, then this this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Example, here we can say legislative, executive, judiciary, same level. Here we can take the example of courts, subordinate court, district courts are at the third place, second court high court, and first place supreme court is the which is in Delhi, New Delhi. It's the most powerful. Okay, this results in the balance of power among various institutions. Last year, we studied that in a democracy, even though ministers and governments officials exercise power, they are responsible. They are responsible. You cannot just do whatever you want to the parliament or the state assemblies. Similarly, although judges are appointed by the executive, they can check the functioning of executive and laws made by the legislator. This arrangement is called the checks and balance, and that is why, where one can take a look at the other organ or other institution or other group, and they all, because they are all placed at the same level, and that is why this arrangement is called checks and balances. The second is form of power sharing is called let's study about that. Power can be shared among governments at different levels. A general government for the entire country, we have a general government for the entire government or entire country, at the national level, which is also called as union government. And government at the provincial or regional level, we have state government, or local three tier government, which is the panchayat. um such a general government for the entire country is usually called, such a general government for the entire country is usually called federal government. In India, we refer to it as the central or union government. The government at the provincial or regional level are called by different names in the different countries. In India, we call them state governments. In system, this system is not followed in all countries. There are many countries where there are no provincial or state governments, but in those countries like ours, where there are different levels of government, the constitution clearly lays down the powers of different levels of government. This is what they did in Belgium, but this was refused in Sri Lanka. This is called federal division of but this was refused. What they did in Belgium, we saw that was not the same in Sri Lanka, and this is called the federal division of power. The same principle can be seen extended to level of governments lower than the state government, such as municipalities and panchayat. Let us call division of powers involving higher and lower levels of government, where we know that somebody has higher authority and somebody has lower authority. That is called vertical division. So a vertical division of power we shall study. So now we know that there are two types. One is the horizontal distribution of power, then we have the vertical distribution of power, like example the union government, and then we have the central government. This is also known as federal function federal government. Then the third way is that power may also be shared among different social groups, such as religious and linguistic groups, which is linguistic groups. Okay, community government in Belgium, we saw that even after having there was this setup, and after that also there was community governments in which people, the government was set up, one set of government was set for people who speak French, and the other who speak Dutch, and the third for obviously German. In German is a good example of this arrangement. In some countries there are constitution and legal arrangements whereby socially weaker sections and women are represented in the legislature and administration. Last year we studied the system. We talked about the reserved constituencies in assemblies and the parliament of a country. This type of arrangement is meant to give space in the country and administration to diverse social groups who otherwise would feel alienated from the government. This method is used to give minority communities a fair share in power. In unit 2 we shall look more about. So now we know the third is the community government, which is usually given to linguistic groups and religious groups. So this is just basically, to give them better representation, and also that uh, community this is also, shared between among different social groups, such as religious and linguistic. Also, this is my this can, it's called reserved constituencies. This is very important, you can remember it by like this. Okay, the fourth way to share power is, see this the other methods, that we are doing apart from horizontal and vertical. For example, this is just that, so that there is peace in that country or province or in an area or so. I'll give you other examples also, where in India, for example, we are talking about, here we are talking about different social groups and everything. One very im- uh, example that you can actually relate and even Google it up is the autonomous districts. You know, lot of autonomous autonomous districts are there in northeast region. Okay, and that is just given, whose administration are done by the local people themselves, and that is just to assure that there is peace in that area. The fourth power sharing arrangement can also be given in the same way. Political parties, pressure groups, and movements control or influence the in power. In a democracy, citizens must have freedom to choose among various contenders for power. In contemporary democracies, this takes the form of competition among different parties. So, a lot of pressure groups, even industries, pressure groups may even industries come. Then you have all these big publication houses, media houses, and everything, political parties, pressure group. We'll study more about that, how pressure groups try to influence their own agenda and everything. Such competition ensures that the power does not remain in one hand. In the long run, power is shared among different political parties that represent, different ideologies and social groups. Sometimes this kind of sharing can be direct when two or more parties form an alliance to contest elections. If their alliance is elected, they form a coalition government and thus share power. In a democracy, we find interest groups such as those of traders, businessmen, industrialists, farmers, and industrial workers. They also will, have a share in governmental power, either through participation in governmental committees or bringing influence on the decision making process. So, major the group of the major function how they work is that, they try to influence, and because influence as the way, in the way that they try to bring in their own agenda, how to, that's the best way to look it up. Okay, either through participation in governmental committees or bringing influence which actually have their own benefit. In unit 3, we shall study the working of political parties, pressure group, and social groups. In my school, the class monitor changes every month. Is that what you call a power sharing arrangement here? Sorry, here. Yes, it can be called, because everybody is given a chance. And so, a sort of power sharing is, like, it's very dicey here when we talk about the class monitor, because he's just there to maintain this thing, silence in the class, and not more of a power, not seen more as a power sharing method, because um there's not such as like power sharing, because teacher is the main person and he's just there to assist the teacher. Let's look at this picture. Okay, raining rains. So we gotta keep the rain tight. Vladimir. Recently, some new laws were made in Russia giving more power to its president. A lot of times, we hear that the constitution was changed so that in most of the countries, it is there that there is a that in the you can run for the elections twice. Matlab, if you are the president, even in USA it is there. For example, in case of Barack Obama, he was he had the office for this thing, office of president, for 2 year for two consecutive terms. That means each, the office of president in United States is for 4 year. One term is for 4 years. He had it for two terms. That means he was there for 8 years. But after that, you cannot stand for the election again. You have to need to have a break. And in a lot of countries, there are same rules that you can have it three terms at a time if you win the election and so. But what is happening, nowadays, that people are changing these people are changing the constitution and rules for the presidentship of the prime minister, so that they can keep on being elected as the president, prime minister, or whatever the posts are. So okay. But in India, what is that, in India, there is no this thing that if you are the prime minister, you have to keep being the, because in India, when we talk about the government, prime minister is the person who heads the government. Okay, when we say that, prime minister, there is no fixed ki acha prime minister can have only 2 terms, 3 terms. It is not fixed that you have to keep on having that, you have to take a break. You know why? Because all the people who are, a prime minister is always the elected one of the uh, elected MPs. They come through the Lok Sabha general election, so they're already chosen by the people. It's not that they are not chosen. It's a proper fair play. So that is why it's not given it's not given that the prime minister will have only 2 fixed terms and then he has to take the break. In our country, that is the reason we don't have any rule as such. During the same time, the US president visited Russia. What, according to this cartoon, is the relation between democracy and concentration of power? Can you think, of some other examples to illustrate the point being made here? You can see, um, Putin, Putin, which is the who is the president of this thing, Russia, and you can see Bush, who's the president of United States. So here you can see this horse, poor horse. He's being labeled as democracy, and you saying that you need to keep the democracy tight. This rope of democracy tight, and that's what it tries to say, that they're trying to keep the democracy under their control. But that's not the real meaning of democracy. Democracy has to be open, it cannot be controlled by somebody. Okay, so we are done with this chapter. Let's look at the questions and answers in this chapter. Okay, here are some examples of power sharing. Which of the 4 types of power sharing do these represent? Who is sharing with whom? The Bombay High Court ordered Maharashtra state government to immediately take action and improve living condition for the 2000 odd children at seven children homes in Mumbai. So it is an horizontal sorry, here when we are talking, it is an horizontal division, because it is uh, judiciary which is giving order to the legislature, and they are the both, they are at the power sharing of equal. Then we have the government of Ontario state in Canada has agreed to a land claim settlement with the Aboriginal community. Aboriginal, are the people who were the original inhabitants of a place. The minister responsible for Native Africa's and so Native Affairs announced that the government will work with Aboriginal people in a spirit of mutual respect and cooperation. So this is a community government basically, and this is done for, so that there is peace. Okay, this is the this third type, sharing power among different social groups and reservation wala thing. Russia's 2 influential political parties, the Union of Right Forces and the Liberals Yabloko movement, agreed to unite the organization into a strong right-wing coalition. They proposed to have a common list of candidates in the parliamentary election. So this is, of course, they are showing a coalition, that they are coming together, because political parties and everything, they are coming together. So there is an alliance, coalition, or you can even say alliance. Okay, this is C, Lions. The finance minister of various states in Nigeria got together and demanded that the federal government declares its sources of income. They also wanted to know that the formula by which the revenue is being distributed to various state governments. So finance minister telling it to the various state government, that is vertical division. I hope you're not confused between vertical and horizontal division. What are the different forms of power sharing in modern democracy? Give example of each. We've already done this, this thing. These are the 4. This is power sharing is very important. I'll chalo highlight it for you again so that you don't forget. Okay. Then state one prudential reason and one moral lesson for power sharing with an example from the Indian context. Prudential, you have like more, you prudential is where you use actually more logic, and one moral reason for power sharing. Okay, think on that. So for prudential, you can say that more logical is having autonomous districts of northeast region, and one moral reason is the local governance. A lot of times we've seen it is the vertical governance sort of this thing in the three tier system, but in one case, local governance, when you talk about, it is at the local level, it is the people, who's actually going to look after the governance and everything. So one of the very important, or we'll say it as a valuable, we'll talk, then we can take example of Kerala's local governance. Then after using this chapter 3, students drew different conclusions. Which of these do you agree with? Why? Agree with, and why? Thomas, power sharing necessary only in societies which have real? No, it is not. Um Power sharing is suitable only for big countries that have regional? No. You also says Seth says that every society needs some power sharing, even if it's small and does not have social division. Yes, because a person cannot, a one person or one social group cannot have all the powers in their hand. The mayor of Merchant, a town near Brussels in Belgium, has defended a ban on speaking French in the town school. He said that the ban would help all non-Dutch speakers integrate in this Flemish land. Do you think this measure is in keeping the spirit of Belgium's power sharing? No, this is not. You are actually creating this feeling of disunity and environment of tense, that you one people belonging from certain community, the other community who's not from there, not that you will have to, you forcing them to speak only their language, so not their language, but you forcing them to accept the other language. If you want people to accept your language, then you have to even accept other people's language. If you want, just like that, in the same sense, that if you want your rights to be accepted and respected, then you are even obliged to respect other people's right. Read the following passage and pick out any one of the prudential reasons for power sharing offered in this. We need to give more power to the panchayats to realize the dream of Mahatma Gandhi and the hopes of the makers of a constitution. Panchayati Raj establishes true democracy. It restores power only, place where people belong in a democracy in the hands of the people. Giving power to panchayat is also a very way to reduce corruption and increase administrative efficiency. So this is the most logical, part. When people participate in planning implementation of development skill, they would even naturally exercise greater control over these schemes. This would eliminate corrupt middlemen. Thus, Panchayati Raj will strengthen the foundation of a democracy, and that's actually the way to increase the foundation of a very democracy. Where we say every time that India is a we keep on crying this narrative that India is democratic. We even have to show it. Okay, different languages are usually different arguments are usually put forth in favor of and against power sharing. Identify those which are in favor of power sharing. So let's see. Okay, A, reduces conflict among different communities. B, so those which are in favor of power sharing, and select the answer using the quotes. So you have to select. Okay, so you have to choose that which of the options out of these they are more in favor of power sharing. Then this one is the correct one, this option A, because it decreases the possibility of arbitrariness. There will be there will not be any vagueness. Matlab, there will be clarity. Vagueness is that when it's very arbitrariness is like you just do. If you feel like, you do it. If you don't feel like, you don't do it. So it will decrease that possibility, it will reduce conflict among different communities. Okay, it is not that it will delay the process, it is not that, it accommodates diversity. Democracy is all about celebrating diversity. Increases instability? No, it does not. Rather, it increases stability, promotes people's participation. Yes, if people are involved, in the process making, it is going to benefit the country. Undermines the unity of a country? No, unity can never be undermined by such a process of power sharing. Consider the following statements about power sharing arrangement in Belgium and Sri Lanka. In Belgium, which of these statements are correct? So we have to find that out of these, which of the statements are correct and which are wrong. In Belgium, the Dutch speaking majority people tried to impose their domination on the minority French speaking community. No, in fact, the major tried to impose their domination on the. They didn't try, thought they didn't actually try as such, but because they had their different regions, of domination itself, so they did not actually try to dominate. And also in the capital city, because in one place one was dominate and other, there was the other community. That's not, this is not more appropriate, because we'll have to, whenever these questions like choose vagera are given, na, always go which is most appropriate. Okay, in Sri Lanka, the policies of the government sought to ensure that the dominance of the Sinhala speaking community. Yes, so wherever B is there, that the Tamils in Sri Lanka demanded a federal arrangement of power sharing to protect their culture, language, and yes, even everybody wants, to opportunity equal and everything. The transformation of Belgium from unitary government to a federal one prevented a possible division. Yes, but uh, the most appropriate is this one, that it actually, tried this thing, the whatever, from this thing, from one to federal system, they prevented a possible division of the country on linguistic lines. Yes, so this is the most appropriate option here, BCD. Now we have matched the following, power sharing among different organs of the country. That is separation of power. The legislative, executive, and judiciary, they all have different functions and they all know their limitations. Power shared among governments at different levels. That's called federal, where we have government at the union level and government at the state level. Power shared by different social groups, that's the community government. Power shared by two or more political parties, that's the coalition government or alliance. So this one is the most appropriate. Consider the following statements on power sharing and select the answer using the codes given. Power sharing is good for democracy. Yes, is good. It helps to reduce the possibility of conflict. Yes, so both are true. So we've done chapter 1, and if you have any doubt, please feel free to comment down or email me wherever you are less hesitant and comfortable. Wherever you are, you can do that and I'll surely reply. And yeah, that's it. Take care of yourself, stay healthy, eat healthy, enjoy life apart from studying, and God bless you. Bye.